Hi, I'm Dave Isaacs coming to you from Nashville, Tennessee for the Songwriters Connection, and this is a quick lesson on right-hand guitar technique. Notice that when I bring my hand to the strings, my right hand is relaxed, my wrist is straight, not rigid but straight, and that my thumb is out ahead of my fingers just a little bit. Thumb is extended, and this applies whether you're using a thumb pick or finger picks. It doesn't really matter because the motion is the same. The thumb is intended to push down towards the floor. This just has to do with the way our hands are made. We have what we call opposable thumbs, right? Well, that means the thumb and the fingers work in opposite directions. The fingers move in and out. The thumb moves up and down. And when you bring that to the guitar, then the thumb is going to push towards the floor, and the fingers are going to pull in towards the guitar. And one of the most common things I see people doing is I see them plucking away from the guitar. They'll lift the wrist and do something like this. Or maybe more this kind of thing, where there's a real obvious pull away, or the whole hand pulls away. Get this kind of thing. And that's not wrong. It works for a lot of people. The only thing is it limits the amount of sound you can produce because it's very soft. You've got a fuzzy attack. And when I say fuzzy attack, I mean that when the finger strikes the string, it's not clear and sharp the way it would be if you were using a pick. This is the reason a lot of people like finger picks and thumb picks. I happen to use a certain amount of right hand nail on there, although my nails are not in great shape by any classical guitarist standards because it's really something you have to take careful care of. But I like the feel of something on there that I can contact the string with, but not that's so big, not so big that it interferes with the tone. For me, finger picks just make everything sound very bright, and there are players that works great for. For me, it doesn't work so well, but my formal background is in classical guitar, so I like to feel the fingers on the strings. But basic hand position is right hand sits like this, thumb moves down, fingers move in, and you might notice that I'm moving from this knuckle. This knuckle is directly, this set of knuckles, is directly over the string. So when I pluck, I move in. Now even if I'm just using two fingers, let's say that I assign my thumb to these two strings, fourth and third, and my index and middle to second and first, and then I hold a four-note chord like a D chord. I can pluck thumb, thumb, index, middle, and if I want a repeating arpeggio type pattern, broken chord pattern, I can do that in lots of ways. Mix it up. Or alternating between thumb and fingers, and then you get the beginnings of what we call a Travis pick, and that's a whole other lesson in itself, but something like this. Makes for a nice rolling sound. This is a very common sound. You've heard this before. Speed it up. Gives us the ability also to play with some melodic things by just varying that D chord. And all that is alternation of thumb, finger, and I happen to lift a finger of the left hand. But today is really mostly about your right hand anyway, so let me get back to this. Here's something that might sound familiar, and just notice the way that I'm using the fingers to attack each chord. You hardly see the right hand move. You'll notice I'm using three fingers, but you could do it just fine with two. You could even do it with one. There are amazing players that use one finger and the thumb. It's just a matter of developing the coordination to get around. But if I play this up to speed, now we get this. Notice thumb, 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 thumb. A bass line. All play by the thumb. So your thumb is the bass player. My my other fingers are sitting on the string. So when I want to pluck, I'm already there. I do this. Again, a little hammer-on the D chord, but again, we're focusing on the right hand. The idea is that I am in contact with the strings already. So I can just go index ring or index middle, and then combine that second stroke with the thumb, and then alternating index, middle, index. And because I'm assigning a particular right hand finger to each string, I'm able to find the string much more easily. And then basically the same idea goes on for the rest of the chords. With the G chord, if I'm using 2 fingers, that's going to be primarily here, strings 1 and 2, using middle finger, index finger, and I can do this. The thumb, remember, can travel across from one string to another very easily because of that up and down movement, whereas the fingers, you actually have to move from one string to another. So even something like this works perfectly fine because of the thumb's ability to move across. If you're using 3 fingers, and this is where we get into the classical guitar technique, 3 right hand fingers assigned to 3 strings, and the thumb responsible for the 3 bass strings. More or less, that's going to change up, but I can do it again, thumb and 2 fingers. Thumb and 3 fingers, so my ring finger is now responsible for the high E string. And then the same thing applies if I go for a different sort of pattern. Where I've assigned index and middle to string 3 and string 2. Thumb is playing a repetitive pattern on a C chord. Broken down, that's thumb, thumb, finger, thumb, finger, thumb, finger, thumb, thumb, finger, thumb, finger, thumb, finger, thumb. And because I've assigned a finger to each string, I don't have to think too much about what I'm supposed to use to hit that note. Now I've got my ring finger free for melody notes. I could use the middle finger also, and then just move it over when I want the second string. That's pretty common too. Now, obviously this is a huge topic. There's a lot that we could get into, but if you can get the basic concept of straight wrist, straight right arm, thumb extended ahead of the fingers, knuckles over the string, thumb pushes down, fingers pull in, and that the thumb against the fingers works like the 2 hands on a piano where you have bass and treble, or low and high. And so you work within that. The thumb essentially plays bass. Even something like this. You could hear bum, bum. And then the other stuff is just filling in the spaces with some kind of basic repetitive pattern and then variations on there to bring out melody. So that's the basis of it. That's the heart of good right hand technique. There's lots more we can talk about, and we'll do that in subsequent lessons. This is Dave Isaacs for the Songwriters Connection, coming to you from Nashville, Tennessee. Thanks for watching.